So you know what? It's another time up in the treehouse, just a little bit of monkey business, but you know, if we put all the jokes aside, look at how clean I could get. Just hit up Rafiki, Grandpa Rafiki, and he hooked me up. Look at that. Look at that right there. Ooh, looking good. And let me tell you, that fire monkey clan, that fire lumbre lobo chango clan, looking real good right here. So looking really good. Oh, hold on, almost forgot. So now back to some X's and O's stories. So we're over there. I go to this party, right? It's out there on Vista del Sol. I forgot what the street name is. Oh, it looks horrible. So we're over there at this party. I'm playing beer pong. And I'm dumping him in. Oh. Send that to Darla, will you? AKA Miss Meow. And so we go to this party and I'm there chilling. And I'm starting to play and they tell me, hey, there's this girl that wants to talk to you. She's in the room. So I was like, oh. It's like, all right. So I go into the room and I look. She's standing there. I'm like, what the? She's very beautiful. And so I'm standing there or whatever, and I was like, hey, they told me that you needed to talk to me. And she looks at me and she just gives me a big old kiss. I was like, oh, whoa. It was up close like that after we locked eyes, and she just, like I said, she just rushed me. She got me. And as soon as that happens, she grabs me and she pushes me up on the bed. Boom. I fall back. Oh. Lay there or whatever. Now keep in mind, at this time, I'm rolling, I'm drinking, having a good old time or whatever. And so like the party goes on, she gets up and she's like, hi, you wish you could have this. And she starts shaking her ass. She starts shaking her ass and shit like that. You can look, but you can't touch. And I was like, what the hell is the point of this? She was like, all right. I was like, you know, I know how to play beer pong, right? And she's like, let's see. So we go and we start playing beer pong. I beat her bad. And with me, I don't let the ladies drink and all that, drink all the drinks. So I drank all the drinks. And then so we come over here, we start rolling out. It's me and my homie. His uncle is part of the Bear Clan. And so we go out and whatever, and we drive back over here. It was my homie with his girl, and it was me with her. Because I guess she was feeling me after that. And so we come over here to this house. Check it out, check it out, check it out. Oh, and they still live here. So, right there. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. So yeah, they're still living here. So we come here to this house. So we're over there. We go into the room. My fam, he ends up having bunk beds there for us. So me and my homie was just there, and he's like, well, you guys could stay over or whatever. So I was like, all right. So we go there or whatever, we go into the room, and we're still drinking up, you know? We're still drinking a little bit more, just dumping them back. I had me a Budweiser. I forgot what he was drinking. And while they were there drinking with us and everything, and so Me and her are sitting on the sofa. Him and her are sitting over there on the bunk beds or whatever. And we're drinking just all night, you know. She started drinking and everything, and then she spills her drink all over the sofa. I was like, whoa. So she's like, well, I'm sorry, can I have another one? So I give her I give her some of my drink, and she's holding it. And I guess she spilled some more, and I was like, what is going on? So like, we're like, oh, okay, well, you know what, let's go lay down. So we jump up on the top of the bunk, we climb up there and everything. I help her up. And so we're laying down, just talking and everything. And she's like, can I have some more of the drink? I was like, look, just be careful this time, all right? You already spilled the drink all over the sofa. So just be careful, you know? So she's like, all right. And then she gives me a kiss. We start kissing. She puts her drink down. And she spills it again. I guess when she moves her butt. And I guess her hips knock over the drink again. So I was like, oh my goodness. So then time goes by, and then they're like, oh, well, we need to go. So it's like, all right. So we go and walk them out. When we go outside to walk them out, she gives me one more big hug and a kiss, and she's like, oh, I really like you. Why don't you come over and meet my mom's? I'm like, all right, I'll meet your mom's. And so they take off, and I'm there with my homeboy, and he's like, man, he's like, I really liked her. You want to switch girls? I was like, nah, bro. Like, what the? I was like, nah, man. I was like, that's your lady, and this is the one that I'm rolling with. This is my lady. He's like, man, that's fucked up, and I thought you would have let me talk to her and this and that. I was like, nah, I don't. I was like, I don't do that. So he was like, whatever. He's like, you know, my uncle's gonna get mad. Spilled all this beer all over the sofa. He spilled it up on the top bunk. And I was like, my bad, you know. I was like, let him know that I'll stop by later, so that way he could buy himself a new one or something. And then he was like, no, he really loved this one because, you know, he has history with it and everything. And I was like, yeah, no, but, you know, like, he's like, nah, don't even worry about it. He's like, why don't you just visit sometimes? I was like, all right. And so I was like, all right. So then I end up leaving or whatever. And then Krista calls me up, and she's like, you know what? Why don't you come over, and that way you can meet my mom like I had asked. Like, all right, I'll do that. And so we go over, and I meet her moms and everything. And we start talking. We're sitting there in the sofa. Right behind us, there's like a stairway that goes up. Her mom's in the kitchen. She starts cooking up some. And she tells me, she's like, you know, I really like you, but you know what? I got a boyfriend. I was like, you got a boyfriend? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, that's fucked up. I was like, you got me over here feeling for you and everything, and then you got to tell me that you got a boyfriend this whole time? I was like, that's fucked up. She's like, well, how is it fucked up? And I was like, because it is. I was like, I was really liking you and everything. I wanted to give you a chance. And then you lie to me, and then you just take off. Or like, well, she hadn't taken off yet. But then I told her, I was like, you know what? If you're going to cheat on him, what do you think you're going to do to me? You're going to end up cheating on me. You're going to end up lying and all this other stuff. And I was like, I don't play around about stuff like that, you know? Like, if you're going to be serious, like, be serious. I was like, why didn't you, like, break up with him there while we was at the party and then say something? Why do you got to go through with everything? It's like, oh, it's like, whatever and all this. So I end up blocking her. So I was like, you know what, that's pretty messed up. So after that, I go about my business. And I end up getting back with my vieja after that. When that happens, I message her. I was like, hey, you know what, how's it going, how you been? And they text me. Oh, well, she does. Well, I don't know who texted me that. Hey, you better watch out. Wanna come out? Come on, boy. Oh, you wanna come out in the streets? Come on now. I'll beat that pretty little ass. Up and down these streets, boy. Oh, it's got little teeth. Lift up arm and up. Hey, hey. Go back. Go back to your house. Go. 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 Go out. I'll kick you in the face if you start following me, boy. You see that? And so, anyways, we go about it, take off. And so, where was I? Oh, yeah. So I ended up talking to her and everything. And I was like, you know, you could have just told me. Oh, no, I was already past all that, huh? Anyways, I messaged my vieja and everything. I was like, hey, you know what? How you doing? I miss you and all this. And they message me and they say, oh, stop messaging to this phone. Vanessa, she's gone. She died because of an overdose. It's all your fault and this and that. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, that's some bullshit. I was like, I didn't want to believe it. So then I go driving up to her grandma's house. Her grandma's not there. So I start freaking out. I'm like, what the fuck? So I start getting in my car. I go all the way to her mom's house, her apartments. And I go knocking on the door. She also lived on Vista del Sol. She lived by that park, Marty Robbins. So I go up the stairs. I start banging on the door. And then she's like, her mom comes out, but I'm like banging on it and shit. And her mom comes out and she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, is Vanessa okay? Like, they told me that she died. Like, what happened or whatever? And she's like, died? And she's like, no, you tripping. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, she's in the room. I was like, what do you mean she's just in the room like that? They're like, yeah, she's over there. You want to see? And I was like, well, yeah, you know. So she's like, all right, well, she lets me in. And Vanessa's sitting down on the room on the left side of the 2 bedrooms. And I was like tripping out. I was like, well, what happened and this and that. She's like, what are you talking about? Well, I had showed her mom the message about what they had messaged me, and then so I showed Vanessa. I was like, look, this is what they said. And she's like, well, that's weird. She's like, well, my sister took my phone. I was like, what do you mean your sister took your phone? She's like, yeah, it's probably her. She probably like took my phone or whatever, and she's the one that said all that. So I was like, well, you scared the shit out of me. I was like, you know what? I really thought you was gone. I was like, you want to come outside with me and let's go chill? And she's like, why would I want to do that? I was like, just come with me, please. I was like, you won't regret it. And she's like, I guess. So we end up going out, get in my car, and we start talking about things. And when we're talking about things or whatever, at that time I was still with Cindy at that time. Cindy with the C. And so we go or whatever, and we're there. And then we go drive around to talk. And at this time, like, that's when my daughter got conceived. And so, snacky snack time. So that's when my daughter got conceived. And so, like, I had prayed because I had lost a couple of kids already by that time. I had lost about 6 or 7 of them due to miscarriages and problems, because I kept trying instead of waiting the full year like they told me to do it. And you know, that's how it would end up happening. And so when that happened, I couldn't believe it. So we end up conceiving my daughter, and she was so mad. She's like, oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe I actually did that. She hated me. Well, she hated herself because, you know, she thought I was just trying to play her or whatever. And she's like, get the fuck out, get away from me. Don't you talk to me. I don't want to talk to you anymore. So I was like, fuck. Felt like shit. So after that, she ends up not talking to me and blocking me. She takes off. And 2 months later, we get a phone call. Stay tuned on the next one of X's and O's, the stories from the Lumbre Lobo Chango.